What happens when a Hollywood star, known for his humor and charm, faces a host who knows no boundaries in her provocations? This moment on The View became one of those events etched into television history, sparking a storm of emotions among viewers and viral debates on social media. No one was prepared for what unfolded when Ryan Reynolds took the guest chair, and Joy Behar decided to turn the interview into a battleground for personal attacks. A sunny morning in New York. The studio of The View buzzes with anticipation. The live audience fills the seats, their chatter mixing with the hum of cameras and the clatter of technical equipment. Bright spotlights flood the stage with warmth, while producers in headsets scurry backstage, checking final details. Today is a special day. Ryan Reynolds, a fan favorite and an actor with a signature smile and sharp wit, has come to promote his new film, a comedic action flick already poised to be a box office hit. The audience erupts in applause as Ryan steps onto the stage. His casual stride, easy smile, and friendly wave instantly create a warm atmosphere. He's dressed in a navy suit, no tie. His style always balances elegance with nonchalance. The hosts, Joy Behar, Whoopi Goldberg, Sarah Haynes, and Sunny Hostin, smile as they greet him. Joy, as usual, sits with a sly glint in her eyes, clutching her notes like a weapon. Whoopi looks relaxed, while Sarah and Sunny exchange glances, as if sensing that Joy is up to something unexpected. "Ryan, welcome to The View," Joy begins, her voice laced with her trademark sarcasm. "You're always so cheerful. What's it like being Hollywood's perpetually upbeat guy?" Ryan laughs, leaning back in his chair. His eyes sparkle as he responds, "You know, Joy, I just try not to let the world break me. Plus, I've got coffee and kids who don't let me sleep, so positivity is all that's keeping me afloat." The audience chuckles, and the atmosphere feels light. Sarah Haynes asks a few questions about the new film, and Ryan talks about the shoot with his usual wit, eliciting more laughter. But there's a sharpness in Joy's eyes, as if she's waiting for the perfect moment to shift the tone. Whoopi notices and shoots her a quick glance, but Joy seems unfazed. "So, Ryan," Joy leans forward, her voice sharpening, "you're always joking. Your whole life is one big punchline, right? Movies, tweets, even your charity work. But doesn't that feel a bit frivolous? The world's full of problems, and you're just out here making people laugh and shooting another comedy." The studio falls silent. The audience, which was laughing moments ago, freezes, sensing the shift. Ryan raises an eyebrow, but his smile doesn't falter. "Well, Joy," he replies, keeping his tone light, "humor's my way of dealing with the chaos. And you know, if my movies or tweets make someone smile on a bad day, I call that a win. As for charity, I do what I can, but I don't like shouting about it from the rooftops." The audience claps, showing their support, but Joy doesn't back down. She interrupts, her voice growing more biting. "Oh, come on, Ryan. You're a Hollywood star. Everything you do is PR. Your jokes, your cute social media posts, even your charity. It's all to look like the good guy, isn't it? When are you ever serious about anything? Or do you just hide behind your humor to dodge real issues?" The silence in the studio becomes oppressive. Sarah Haynes nervously shuffles her papers, and Sunny Hostin shoots Joy a look that screams, "What are you doing?" Whoopi tries to intervene, smiling. "Joy, come on, Ryan's here to talk about his movie. Let's not turn this into an interrogation." But Joy ignores her, her eyes locked on Ryan. He sits still, but his fingers tighten slightly on the armrests. His smile fades, replaced by a thoughtful expression. "Joy," he says, his voice calm but with a hint of tension, "I get that you want to stir things up. But accusing me of dodging issues because I like to joke? That's a bit unfair. I do what I'm best at, entertaining people. And if that helps someone forget their problems for a couple of hours, I don't think that's frivolous." The audience erupts in applause, but Joy isn't done. She leans back, crossing her arms, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "Oh, please, Ryan. You're saying your comedies change the world? Let's be real. You're selling jokes to make millions while people deal with real problems. Have you ever done anything serious? Or are you just a funny guy with a nice smile? The cameras zoom in, capturing every movement. A backstage operator whispers into a headset, "This is getting out of hand." The audience starts murmuring, some pulling out phones to record the moment. Sarah tries to change the subject, but her voice is drowned out by the tension. Ryan looks straight at Joy, his eyes narrowing, but he still holds himself together. "Joy," he says, his voice firmer. "I'm not claiming to change the world. But I know one thing, people need joy just as much as they need protests or politics. And if you think my jokes are just a way to hide, then maybe you don't know me as well as you think." The studio of The View is frozen in tense silence, the kind that feels eternal. The cameras hum, capturing every gesture, every glance. Ryan Reynolds sits in the guest chair, his fingers gripping the armrests a little tighter, but his face remains composed, though his eyes betray a storm brewing within. Joy Behar, on the other hand, looks confident, her smile bordering on a challenge, as if she's relishing the way her words have stirred the room. Whoopi Goldberg shoots Joy another warning glance, but Joy ignores it, leaning closer to Ryan. "Oh, Ryan, don't give me excuses," Joy says, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "You're the king of comedy, right? But tell me, when was the last time you did something that really mattered? Not movies, not tweets, something that changes lives. Or are you just too scared to step out of your comfort zone?" The audience gasps, and a few people exchange looks, as if unable to believe Joy went there. Sarah Haynes lets out a nervous laugh, trying to defuse the situation. "Joy, come on, let Ryan talk about his movie." But Joy waves her off, her eyes still fixed on Ryan. Sunny Hostin purses her lips, her gaze darting between Joy and the producers backstage, who are now whispering into headsets, sensing the situation spiraling. One of the camera operators tilts the lens to capture the audience's reaction. Some are holding up phones, recording, while others sit with mouths agape, unsure whether to clap or wait. Ryan takes a slow breath, his shoulders tensing, but he keeps his composure. When he finally speaks, his voice is steady, but there's a hint of steel in it. "Joy," he says, "I get that you want a show. Ratings, drama, all that. But accusing me of not caring because I make jokes? That's low. I don't shout about every donation or project I'm part of, but that doesn't mean I don't care. Maybe you should ask yourself why you're so obsessed with tearing someone down instead of having a real conversation." The audience bursts into applause, and a few shout words of support. Joy, however, doesn't back down. Her eyes narrow, and she leans back in her chair, as if preparing for another strike. "A real conversation?" she repeats, her voice even more biting. "Ryan, you've been dodging real conversations your whole life. Your jokes are just a shield. You're afraid to be serious because then people would see there's nothing behind your smile. You're just playing the nice guy role, but is there anything real about you?" The studio falls deathly silent. The sound of a microphone clicking as Ryan shifts slightly feels deafening. Whoopi raises a hand, trying to intervene. "Okay, Joy, that's enough. Let's get back to..." But Joy cuts her off, her eyes still locked on Ryan. "No, Whoopi, I want to hear what he has to say. Come on, Ryan. Prove me wrong. Show us you're not just a clown with a pretty face." Ryan stares at Joy, his jaw clenching, his eyes blazing. The moment stretches, and the air in the studio feels heavy. The audience holds its breath, the producers backstage whisper about cutting to commercial, but no one dares interrupt. Ryan slowly stands from his chair, his movements deliberate but filled with resolve. He removes the microphone from his jacket, holding it in his hand, as if weighing whether to drop it on the floor. "Joy," he begins, his voice calm but cutting through the studio like a knife. "I didn't come here to prove who I am to you. I came to talk about a movie, about work I love, and about the people who watch it. But you decided to turn this into a circus. You want to know what's real to me? Real is when I see people laughing in a theater, forgetting their problems. Real is when I hug my kids after a long day. Real is when I do something for others without bragging about it on every talk show." He pauses, scanning the audience. Some wipe tears, others nod in support. The cameras zoom in, capturing every emotion on his face. And you know what's not real? Ryan continues, his voice sharpening. Using your platform to tear people down for a few extra views. You think your words make you strong? No, Joy. They make you cruel. And I'm not going to stand here and play your game. He drops the microphone on the table, not with anger, but with dignity, and turns to leave. The microphone lands on the table with a soft thud, the sound reverberating through the silent studio of The View. Ryan Reynolds stands tall, his navy suit slightly wrinkled from the tension in his posture, his eyes locked on Joy Behar for a fleeting moment before he turns toward the exit. The audience is frozen, some leaning forward in their seats, others clutching their phones, capturing the moment that feels like it's about to explode into television legend. The cameras swivel frantically, one zooming in on Ryan's determined stride, another catching Joy's face, her confident smirk faltering, replaced by a flicker of uncertainty. Joy, never one to let a guest have the last word, leans forward, her voice sharp but tinged with a hint of desperation. Oh, come on, Ryan! Running away already? I thought you were tougher than that. Her words hang in the air, but they lack the venom of her earlier attacks, as if she's scrambling to regain control. Ryan pauses mid-step, his back to the stage. The studio holds its breath. Slowly, he turns around, his expression a mix of resolve and restrained anger. He doesn't pick up the microphone but speaks loudly enough for the room to hear, his voice steady and commanding. Joy, I'm not running. I'm choosing not to waste my time with someone who'd rather tear people down than build anything up. You want to fight for your ratings? Find someone else. I'm here to talk about what I love, not to play your game of who can yell the loudest. The audience erupts in applause, the sound swelling like a wave. Some stand cheering, while others remain seated, torn between shock and admiration. A woman in the front row wipes a tear from her cheek, her phone still recording. The producers backstage are in chaos. One signals to cut to commercial, but another shakes their head, whispering, "Let it play out. This is gold." The cameras keep rolling, capturing every second of the standoff. Whoopi Goldberg finally seizes the moment, her voice calm but firm. All right, let's take a breath here. Ryan, you don't have to." But Ryan raises a hand, politely cutting her off. "No, Whoopi, I'm good. I said what I needed to say." He turns to the audience, his face softening slightly. "Thank you for being here, for supporting the work I do. I hope you'll see the movie and maybe laugh a little. That's what keeps me going." With that, he gives a small nod, turns, and walks off the stage. The sound of his footsteps, sharp clicks of dress shoes on the polished floor, echoes in the stunned silence. The audience bursts into another round of applause, some shouting words of encouragement as he disappears behind the curtains. Joy sits back, her arms crossed, her face a mask of defiance, but her eyes betray a flicker of regret. Sarah Haynes and Sunny Hostin exchange uneasy glances, while Whoopi shakes her head, muttering something under her breath. The stage manager signals for a commercial break, and the lights dim as the theme music plays. But the audience doesn't move, still buzzing with whispers and excitement. Phones light up as clips of the confrontation are already being uploaded to social media, tagged with hashtags like #RyanVS.Joy and #TheViewShowdown. Resolution. Backstage, the chaos is palpable. Producers huddle around monitors, replaying the footage, while staff members whisper about the fallout. Ryan, now out of sight, is met by his team, who guide him through a maze of cables and equipment to a private room. He sits heavily on a couch, running a hand through his hair, his calm facade giving way to a moment of vulnerability. His publicist, a sharp-eyed woman in a blazer, pats his shoulder. "You handled that like a pro, Ryan. The internet's going to eat this up." Ryan gives a wry smile. "Yeah, but I didn't come here to start a war. I just wanted to talk about the movie." Meanwhile, in the studio, the show resumes after the break. Joy tries to steer the conversation back to lighter topics, but her usual bravado feels forced. The other hosts are visibly uncomfortable, with Sarah making a weak joke about the weather and Sunny steering the discussion toward the next guest. The audience, however, is distracted, their attention still on the moment that just unfolded. Some are already posting about it online, with comments ranging from, "Ryan Reynolds is a class act," to, "Joy went too far this time." As the show wraps, the producers know they've stumbled into a viral moment. By the time the credits roll, clips of Ryan's speech are trending on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. News outlets pick up the story, with headlines like, "Ryan Reynolds walks off the View after Joy Behar's attack," and "Hollywood star shuts down talk show host in epic moment." Pundits debate whether Joy's provocations crossed a line or if Ryan overreacted by walking out. Fans flood Ryan's social media with support, while others criticize Joy for what they call bullying tactics. Epilogue. In the days that follow, the confrontation becomes a cultural touchstone. Ryan doesn't address the incident directly but posts a subtle tweet. "Laughter is medicine. Keep smiling, folks. And go see the movie winking face #SpreadJoy." The tweet garners millions of likes and retweets, with fans praising his grace under pressure. Some call for a boycott of The View, while others defend Joy, arguing she was just doing her job as a provocative host. Share your thoughts in the comments, and join the conversation that's taken the internet by storm. Joy, for her part, remains defiant in public but softer in private. On the next episode of The View, she addresses the incident briefly, saying, "Look, I ask tough questions. That's what we do here. If you can't handle it, that's on you." But her tone lacks conviction, and rumors swirl that producers urged her to tone down her approach in future interviews. Whoopi, ever the diplomat, adds, "We love spirited debates, but let's keep it respectful, folks." The moment reshapes perceptions of both Ryan and Joy. For Ryan, it cements his image as a Hollywood star who's not just a funny guy but a man of principle, unafraid to stand up for himself while maintaining dignity. For Joy, it sparks a debate about the role of talk show hosts. Should they provoke for ratings, or is there a line that shouldn't be crossed? Social media buzzes with polls and threads asking, who was right? Did Ryan overreact, or did Joy go too far? The divide is stark, with fans and critics passionately arguing their sides. The lesson of the confrontation resonates far beyond the studio. Ryan's defense of humor as a force for good strikes a chord with many, reminding people that joy, in all its forms, has value in a world often weighed down by negativity. His refusal to engage in Joy's game of provocation becomes a powerful statement about staying true to oneself, even under pressure. At the same time, the incident highlights the dangers of using a platform to demean others, sparking conversations about accountability in media. As the dust settles, Ryan's movie enjoys a surge in ticket sales, with fans citing his The View moment as a reason to support him. The viral clip of his speech becomes a meme, with lines like, "They make you cruel," repurposed in countless humorous and heartfelt ways. The incident, now etched into pop culture, leaves viewers with a question. In a world that often demands seriousness, is there room for those who choose to spread joy? And when does provocation cross the line into cruelty? What do you think? Was Ryan right to walk out? Did Joy go too far?